Hello everyone, and thanks for watching this short video. In this video I'm going to present one of the projects that I did during my training with no coders. It's a backend project where I developed RESTful APIs to serve mocked games review API data, and this project was developed using JavaScript, Node.js, Express, Axios, and the backend data is served using PostgreSQL. And the project can be found on github.com qmqasim99/nc-games, and the project has also been uploaded on Heroku, and you can find the URL here. Now if you visit my deployed version of my backend server on herokuapp.com, then you will come across all the different endpoints that my project serves, such as one of the endpoint is API/categories, and when a client reaches that endpoint, it will serve with a list of categories. And so a slug will be a category name and the description of that category. Another endpoint is API/reviews, and using this endpoint the client is able to access all the reviews served by the backend. And so when the client reaches this endpoint, it responds with a list of reviews, and each review can contain the review ID, the review title, and also the review text, and also the category that this review belongs to. So if we go to an example of our endpoint like API/reviews, then when the client reaches this endpoint, they are served with all this data. Another endpoint is /API/reviews/review ID. So if a client only wanted to see or only wanted to access one particular review and they provide with a review ID, then they are able to get just one single review result. So if we go to our endpoint, and this endpoint we are providing the review ID for, then we get one review object which is the review ID 4. Among the other API endpoints, I also provide a post endpoint which enables the client to post a new comment. So if a client wanted to post a new comment for a particular ID, then they would use API/reviews/review ID/comments and post a new comment. Now very quickly, let me show you the code that handles all the backend requests. So in this our project, we have an app file, app.js. This is the main file that handles all the endpoints. So if the system sees a client coming onto our endpoint API, then API router will handle all the coming in requests. We can go into our API router, and then we can see that within API router we have different endpoints, categories, and reviews. So if the client wanted to access API/reviews, then this reviews router will handle that request. Within the reviews router, if the request was for all the reviews, then we will get all the reviews using this method. And if the request was only for one particular review, then we will access the review ID and get the reviews just for that particular ID. We have also attached a .patch method onto this route. So if the client wanted to patch the review or in other words update the reviews, then this patch reviews votes will handle that request. This backend project utilizes MVC architecture in order to separate out the business logic from the data layer to make it easy for us to manage this project and to manage our code base. Therefore, all the control files are listed within the controller folder. So API controller and also the reviews controller files, they manage the reviews, and the model, which all the files are linked under the model folder. And for instance, reviews.model.js will control intersection with the database. So for instance, when we want to get all the reviews, get reviews will be called, and that is a controller function. If you go into get reviews, then you can see that this get reviews actually calls another function select reviews, which is part of the data layer. And when we go into select reviews, and this is where the SQL command is used to connect with the database and to get all the data from the database. Within my backend project, I also heavily depend on testing our code. So we have a app.test.js file. Just to give an example, we could test one of our endpoint, which is, for instance, /API/reviews/3, and 3 is the review ID. We could test this endpoint using jest and super test. So we could send a request to this endpoint and expect 200 response back from the server. We could also say that the body review, which is sent back from the server, and that review ID needs to equal 3, which is the same as the review ID that we are testing. We could also test for non-existent ID. So if we send a review ID which is 100, and we do know that 100 does not exist within our test data, then the message back that we should receive from the server is we could not get your review ID for review ID 100. So this is just a quick example of the backend server that I have developed using RESTful APIs, and I hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching.